My name is Kristen. I'm 41, and last Thanksgiving my sister tried to erase me in public. We walked into Victoria's mansion with a warm pumpkin pie. My daughter Autumn is 15. She carried it like it mattered. The chandelier threw clean light across expensive faces. Victoria air-kissed my cheek without touching skin. Her smile said, "You're late. You're small." Then she pointed at the table like a judge. "Adults only at this table," she announced. "You can sit with the kids." "Since you haven't really achieved anything." My throat went tight. Autumn's eyes flashed red with anger. I didn't argue. I lifted my plate with both hands. I walked to the wobbling card table by the kitchen, and I smiled like I belonged anywhere. After dinner, I handed my sister an envelope on purpose. "Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from. A quiet kitchen, a parked car, or a room you finally have to yourself. Echoes of life is here with you while we turn the next page. To understand that card table, you need my real timeline." Autumn's dad left when she was 2. I was broke in the quiet way. Late-night math, cheap detergent, and a buzzing old fridge. I worked bookkeeping at a small manufacturing office. Gray cubicles, burnt coffee, fluorescent hum. I took accounting books to lunch like contraband. Dorothy, my boss, noticed. "You're smarter than data entry," she said. "Why aren't you getting your CPA?" I laughed because laughter was cheaper than childcare. I told her the truth. I was a single mom. There weren't enough hours or dollars. Dorothy pulled strings anyway. Night classes at community college, a schedule shift so I could attend. 4 years of studying after Autumn fell asleep. Practice questions at our kitchen table. Her homework beside mine. Both of us fighting for a future. When I passed, doors opened fast. I joined a bigger firm. I learned how wealthy people actually move money. Not with bragging, with paperwork, structures, and patience. One client, Frank, took me seriously. He taught me about mortgage-backed assets, how loans get bought and sold like inventory. "Most people never meet their real lender," he said. When Frank died, he left me seed money and one line in a note. "Build something that matters." So I did. I started a small mortgage investment company. Ethical terms, clear documents, no games. I kept every receipt and every signed page. Because stability isn't a vibe. It's a system you can prove. Victoria never asked about any of it. At holidays, she'd say, "Still bookkeeping?" Already turning away. That's why her insult hit so hard. She thought my life was small. She had no idea what I'd been building quietly, and she had no idea her life was sitting inside my files. My company didn't look like Victoria's idea of success. No marble lobby, just a small office and my laptop glow at midnight. Most nights, Autumn did homework at my table. I reviewed loan files beside her math worksheets. The printer coughed out disclosures. I learned to trust documents over speeches. We bought residential mortgages in clean portfolios. Banks sold them after mergers. To a bank, a mortgage is an asset. To a family, it's their whole roof. 18 months before that Thanksgiving, a regional bank listed 15 upscale home loans. I opened the spreadsheet and froze. One address was my sister's, Victoria's gated neighborhood. The white column house she toured like a trophy. I didn't buy it out of revenge. I bought it because the numbers made sense. The loan was current. The property had appreciated. The terms were favorable. Still, I called my attorney, Richard. I asked about conflicts. He asked one question back. "Can you stay professional with family?" "Yes," I said, and I meant it. We purchased the portfolio, legally, cleanly, quietly. My staff processed payments like any other loan. Month after month, Victoria paid on time. Until she didn't. Not a dramatic default, just small cracks. 2 late payments in 6 months. 1 check returned, then covered in grace. A few fees that smelled like panic. Then I saw the real problem. Her adjustable rate reset in January. If rates held, her payment would jump hard. About $1,800 a month. The same month Keith's promotion was supposed to start. Keith is her husband. My parents are Janet and Robert. Their twins are Mason and Madison. On paper, they looked perfect. In my files, they looked stretched. I kept my distance. I didn't call. I didn't warn her. I didn't step into her pride. But Victoria never stopped performing. At gatherings, she priced the world out loud. Her china, her vacations, her generational wealth. A week before Thanksgiving, she called me. Her voice was sweet and sharp. "Understand the tone this year," she said. "We're discussing adult matters. Keith's plans, the kids' elite school, the lake house expansion." She paused like a blade. "It may not be relevant to everyone's situation." I hung up and opened her loan file again. I didn't feel rage. I felt readiness. I printed one envelope. Not to threaten, to reflect reality. Because if she wanted an adult table, she was going to hear the adult truth. And I knew exactly when I would place it in front of her. If this were your family, what would you do? Comment 1 if you'd reveal the truth at the table. Comment 2 if you'd leave quietly and never explain. Dessert came out like another performance. Pie on the good china at the main table. Our slices arrived on paper plates, plastic forks, like we were an afterthought. Autumn's jaw stayed tight. I kept my face calm. "Paper is easier," I said. I watched Victoria pretend not to hear me. Then she stood and clinked her glass. She launched into Madison's elite academy again. Keith smiled, but his eyes looked tired. Mom stared at her lap. Dad hovered by the window, silent. I pushed back my chair. The folding legs squeaked on tile. Every head turned toward the card table. Victoria's smile thinned, impatient. "Victoria," I said, "before we go, I need to give you something." She waved one manicured hand. "Can it wait? We're discussing curriculum." I walked to the main table anyway. The chandelier light made the envelope look ghost pale. Manila. Letter-sized. Her name printed across the front. "Your mortgage holder asked me to deliver this personally." Keith's drink stopped halfway to his mouth. Autumn stepped beside me, shoulders squared. Victoria blinked, then laughed once. "My mortgage holder? Why would they contact you?" "Open it," my father said. His voice didn't shake. Victoria ripped the flap too fast. The papers slid onto the tablecloth. Her eyes moved down the first page. Then her face drained. Keith grabbed the top sheet. He read, then read again. His mouth opened, then closed. Finally, he spoke. "You own our mortgage." The room went quiet in a heavy way. Madison looked up from her phone. Mason's screen went dark in his hands. My mother covered her mouth. "Yes," I said. "I've owned it for 18 months. I bought it in a portfolio sale, through my investment company." Victoria's laugh turned sharp. "You don't have an investment company. You're a bookkeeper." "I was a bookkeeper," I said, 15 years ago. Then I earned my CPA. I built a firm that buys home loans and services them with clean records. Victoria flipped pages, faster now. Payment history, late fees, default language in black and white. "This can't be right," she whispered. "It is," I said, "and your rate resets in January." Keith's knuckles went white on the paper. Victoria's voice cracked. "How much does it change?" I kept my voice flat. "About $1,800 more each month." At current rates, no one gasped. They just went still, like the house finally showed its cracks. Victoria stared at the numbers, then at me. Fury and fear, fighting for space. I pulled out a chair and sat at the adult table she denied me. Autumn sat beside me, chin high. I didn't smile. I didn't apologize. That's when Victoria realized my silence had always been power. I sat down at the main table. I kept my voice even. "This isn't a prank, Victoria. It's your loan." Keith read the reset clause twice. My parents didn't speak. "You've been late 3 times in 6 months," I said. "Enough to trigger penalties." Victoria lifted her chin. "We'll manage," she said. But her fingers worried her napkin. "January is the rate reset," I said. "Your payment jumps about $1,800. Then fees start stacking." Keith exhaled. "My promotion starts in February," he admitted. "Not January." "So you've been living on income that hasn't arrived," I said. "That's not wealth. That's debt in nicer clothes." Victoria stalled. "What do you want from us?" "I want the truth said out loud," I answered. "And I want this family to stop ranking people." I slid the term sheet toward her. "I can refinance you to a fixed rate," I said. "Below current market. Your payment drops about $400. You get stability, not surprise." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Why would you help me?" "Because I'm not here to crush you," I said. I'm here to end the cruelty. In front of my daughter, Autumn stood by my chair, still as a post. So here's the condition, I said. Before we sign anything, you acknowledge what you did tonight. Not, I'm sorry if. Not, you're sensitive. Say it straight. Victoria stared at the paper. Then at Autumn. Her voice came out thin. I treated you like you were less. I made you sit with the kids. I said you achieved nothing. Keep going, I said softly. Not to punish you. To make it real. Victoria swallowed hard. I was jealous, she said. You built peace without showing off. And I built a life that looks expensive, but feels like a stage. I used you as my comparison point, she whispered. So I could feel taller. And I did it for years. My chest loosened a fraction. Not because it was fixed, because it was finally named. I'm sorry, Victoria said. For years. For Autumn, too. I nodded once. Thank you. Now we do this clean, I said. You and Keith sign. Autopay is mandatory. No games. No forgetting a due date. Everything goes in writing. Clear terms protect everyone. And this is my boundary. If you humiliate us again, the kindness ends. I service the loan like any other. By the book. Dad finally spoke. Everyone sits together, he said. No more card tables. Mom stood up. I'll bring the good cups, she said, for everyone. Next week, I said, we meet at my office. We sign the refinance. Then you prove change in small ways. Because respect isn't a toast. It's a pattern you keep. The refinance meeting was quiet and professional. My office wasn't fancy. Just bright windows, clean desks, and whiteboards. Victoria showed up early. No perfume cloud, no bragging. Just a folder in her hands and red eyes. Keith looked older than his photos online. He asked real questions. Payment dates. Escrow. Emergency reserves. We signed everything in plain language. Fixed rate. 30 years. Autopay required. No secrets. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt steady. Like my feet finally matched the ground. At home, Autumn and I made dinner together. Garlic in a hot pan. A sitcom humming in the background. She leaned on the counter and said, You didn't yell once. I smiled. I didn't need to. The documents did the speaking. The months after were different. Victoria called to ask about Autumn's exams. Not about herself. Not about her house. About my daughter. Mason and Madison started visiting sometimes. They put their phones down more at our place. Autumn showed them how to bake pie crust. It was messy and normal and good. Victoria still wasn't perfect. Neither am I. But she stopped measuring love in price tags. And I stopped shrinking to keep peace. Here's what I learned. Family isn't an achievement scoreboard. And dignity doesn't require a big scene. Sometimes it's one calm boundary. One envelope. One chair you finally choose. I forgave my sister. But I didn't forget the line. If respect disappears, I leave the table. Autumn carries that lesson now. Not in anger, in clarity. Because the strongest people don't beg for a seat. They build their own and stay honest. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Echoes of Life is here for more stories of quiet strength and clean boundaries.